Hello, my friends, and here we are for Toxic Workspaces Volume 2 Electric Boogaloo. Oh, yeah. So, as discussed in the previous video, the best thing to do with regards to a toxic workspace is to get the fuck out of there immediately. Now, there are going to be cases where immediately, or 1 to 30 days, is not going to be an option. That moves us to step 2, set a blueprint so that you can get the fuck out of there as soon as possible. Again, toxic workspaces, bad. Garbage trucks making noise behind me, also bad. So from here, you need to ultimately look at the balance between what your options are for staying or going. My recommendation is always going to be to go because, as previously noted, you are completely replaceable. Now, you may find yourself in a position where you're not able to jump ship. You have no savings, your rent is due, you're finding yourself a little bit underwater from a debts perspective, you're supporting a family that won't allow you to just kind of up and drop. It's never a good place to be. However, it doesn't mean that you have to stay there forever. First and foremost, set yourself a timeline. It's always good to have a goal date in mind because that will, if nothing else, incentivize you and give a certain measure of urgency to it. That way, if nothing else, you're committed to leaving by X date. Once you do that, it's very important to take a tally, as previously mentioned, of all your assets as well as your liabilities. So, say for example, you find yourself in debt a little bit more. Well, and then you think, well, I'm going to give myself 6 months. Well, guess what? That is 6 months to start working your finances a little bit better. That is 6 months to trim off a lot of unnecessary purchasing that you're doing, and it'll actually be a great incentive to clean up a lot of aspects of your life that you may not necessarily be paying attention to. Also gives you an opportunity to put a little bit of money in the bank, give your spouse a heads up so that they're not completely stressed out by what's going on, and you can work together on prepping to get gone. Ideally, you could put away at least 2 or 3 months worth of savings. That's a huge thing. Secondarily, you really do want to aggressively start working on finding that next position. What this means is spending some time debating what actually genuinely makes you happy. It does no good to jump from one toxic workspace to another toxic workspace and just keep hopscotching from one bad to a not so bad, which eventually turns bad, off to another not so bad, which eventually turns bad. Now, especially now, is a great time to consider what genuinely makes you happy and what you would genuinely like to spend your time doing. It also gives you time to start doing a little bit of the legwork to plan for what that may require, be it additional schooling, training, or if it's something you can just drop right into with the right support. Certainly, among your assets, do not discount your own personal network. Your friends and the people that you care about will be very happy to see you leave in a bad place, especially if you let them know how bad it is. And they will also work for you and with you in order to put yourself in a better place. One asset that I found when I was starting out was one of my friends had just finished a career counseling program, and they were willing to work with me and on me just as a way to help polish their own skills. I've gone and trained to be a coach, and one thing that I'm doing is I'm working with one of the other coaches so that not only do I learn how they work, but they can help me through some of my own personal roadblocks. Awesome as I am, I still have them. Once you have this vague blueprint going, you're actually in an excellent spot. Again, you're completely replaceable. So once you know when you're going to leave, it tells you how long you have to leave. It gives you incentive and urgency to determine those things that you need. Now, the last most important thing, and I honestly cannot stress this enough, do not let anyone you work for know that you are looking to leave. Period. This includes friends, coworkers, well-wishers, etc. This is not their business, and the less that you make it their business, the better off you will be in the long run. I have found myself hung out to dry by coworkers on more than one occasion, and this is from coworkers who I had actually felt genuinely close to and trusting of. Trust your coworkers as much as you trust management, and trust management not at all. Uh, your leaving will deprive them of an asset. Yes, you're replaceable, but you're a replaceable asset that has already been trained and already knows the systems. You're a replaceable asset that they would much prefer to not have to go through the efforts to replace. So that's pretty much the lesson for today. The lesson for today is set a timeline, create a blueprint, and don't ever tell anyone at work that you're looking for another job unless you really, really want to risk it getting elsewhere. I believe it was Ben Franklin said that 3 can keep a secret so long as 2 are dead. So don't share your private information unless you're planning to kill somebody. I hope that's been informative. This has actually been very entertaining to do. We've got one more of these to do, and then I will be moving on to some other topics that some other folks have been kind enough to share. Hope you have a great day, and thank you very much.